Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of WN Movie Talk Podcast. My name is Trev, I am your host, and today is a very special episode. It's something I've toyed with the idea of doing for a long time, and I thought, let's just do it this time with this particular film. Now, this is a film that it's not a very good film, admittedly, so this could be good fun, ripping the film to pieces. Sort of thing I like doing, but it's a film that you might know. I'm in my 3D phase at the moment, going through 3D films, and it's a film that I've always wanted to see in 3D ever since I was little, and it's Jaws 3D. You know that because you've downloaded the podcast. So anyway, yes, Jaws 3D. So it's 50 years this year since the release of Jaws, which, as you know, is one of my favourite films, film that I grew up on. This one, Jaws 3, not so much, but it is the first time that I've got to see it in 3D. Now, what's different about this episode is that I am going to do an audio commentary of the film. So if you've got the film on DVD, it doesn't have to be in 3D. You could put it on and play it alongside me. But I'm going to make it interesting. I'm going to keep talking. It's going to be a good podcast episode as well. But it's just going to be different because it won't be edited. I won't take out all the little mistakes that I make. Coughs and sneezes, splutters, things like that. Mispronunciations. So it's just going to be me talking for literally an hour and 40 minutes about the film. So it's going to be a good podcast episode anyway. Even if you can't watch the film, you can picture it. I'll talk you through it. So it might be a good reminisce anyway. So that's what this is all about. That's what we're going to do. So I won't keep you any longer. But now, if you go and get your DVD set up, if you do want to follow, go and get your DVD set up now so we can start in the same place. So I'm going to select it now in 3D on my 3D telly. Very excited about this. And we'll start it together from the point just before the Universal sign comes in on the black screen. That's the very beginning. I've paused it. I'll count you in and then we will discuss and watch Jaws 3 together from there. Okay? So the film's ready to go. It's the black screen before the stars come on. I've got it paused. So if you're with me, got your drinks ready? Because I've got plenty of fluids for this because it could be probably a dry throat episode. Constant talking. Anyway, we're ready. We're just before the Universal logo. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So here come the stars. Now, all the Universal logos coming out in 3D. It's a bit weird, the 3D on this, for some reason. It looks a bit tunnel vision-y. Alan Landsberg Productions. So, not an actual Universal production. Alan Landsberg was a producer of TV movies. Jaws 3 was going to be a TV movie, actually. But the director, Joe Alves, or Joe Alves, some people call him, it was his debut film and he pushed for a theatrical release. And 3D was all the rage back then. So he really fought hard to say, look, we can do the theatrical release, Jaws 3 in 3D. So that's what happened. So at the moment, we've got this POV shot of the shark. Look, it comes up to this fish. Crunch. This is one of those shots that you knew was designed for 3D. The head, disembodied head floating. All those years, you could tell all the shots in this film when you were a kid. Oh, that would be good in 3D. Surprisingly, that shot's actually not that good in 3D. The mouth still going. It's forward a little bit, but there's a lot of ghosting on this 3D version, to be honest. Now the theme starts, and look, Jaws 3D coming, leaping out at you, the text, and chomping like a Jaws mouth. So all the text on this has got like the 3D sort of effect, starring Dennis Quaid, Bess Armstrong. Dennis Quaid is sort of a poor man's Harrison Ford, I always think. Louis Gossett Jr. as Calvin Bouchard. He's your obligatory sort of, well, not your obligatory, co-starring Leah Thompson from Back to the Future. This is her film. But yeah, Bouchard, Gossett Jr., he's the man behind the scenes of SeaWorld. This is his company, his business here. Music by Alan Parker, not to be confused with Alan Parker, who done like films like The Commitments and Bugsy Malone's. And here we see the water skiers. So a lot of the shows and that you see through this is actually part of the SeaWorld entertainment as we go. Now in a minute you see them coming up the pyramid. Suggested by the novel by Peter Benchley. Screenplay by Richard Matheson, Carl Gottlieb. Story by Gordon Trueblood. Now, Richard Matheson is a really important writer in cinema and TV. He writes lots of short stories. Actually, the short story of Jewel, that Spielberg's first film, Jewel, sorry, was based on. Sorry, frog in my throat. He wrote I Am Legend, The Box, a lot of Twilight Zone episodes. Yeah, he was given this script to write. And he wrote it about a shark that came in a river and got trapped in a lake, which was also based on a story by Gordon Trueblood. That's why Gordon Trueblood gets the story credit. Richard Matheson wrote the script, but then the studio's interference started to say, like, we want this to be... we want this to have the Brodies in, and they'd interfere a lot. And he sort of said, you know what, I don't want this anymore. And he passed it on. And then it went through other drafts and it became this studio interfered version of the book, of his screenplay. And from there, Carl Gottlieb, sorry, burping and everything. Carl Gottlieb was called in to polish up the script, and he said it was just a mess by the time he'd got there. Carl Gottlieb had sort of worked as a writer on Jaws with Spielberg. He also played Meadows. He actually wrote himself out of the original film because he knew it would make it better. And all those decisions that he made to make Jaws 1 really great, and then was called in on Jaws 2 as well to make that really great, or as good as it could be. But this, he said he just couldn't save. So he's all the staff of SeaWorld now lined up, being trained. The shorts are short enough. We're going to see Bouchard turn up in a minute. We've just seen all the women and the women and the men doing the jet skiing. Were they going to get caught by the shark? They didn't, at the moment. No shark attack. I think Oberman is the first shark attack. So this is the new lagoon that Bouchard has opened up at SeaWorld, the underwater lagoon. So, yeah, Richard Matheson's script of the shark getting trapped in a lake becomes a shark getting trapped in SeaWorld. So, theme parks gone wrong. Sort of like your Westworld, taking influence from that, I should think. Unless you could look at it that Spielberg and Michael Crichton stole the idea for Jurassic Park from Jaws 3. Maybe that's what happened here. The influential film Jaws 3. There he is, Louis Gossett Jr. as Bouchard. He's an award winner, Academy Award winner. He won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, I think, in An Officer with a Gentleman. He couldn't pick up his award because he was filming Jaws 3. So here we have as well the shark coming in through the gate. I always think, looks like the shark makes it into the park long before the gates jam. But who knows? Gates do jam. The dubbing in this scene, look at this. Who's that? Mike Brody. I recognise that name. So the Brody brothers are in this film. obviously Chief Brody, Roy Scheider's nowhere to be seen. He didn't even want to go back to Jaws 2 for the sequel, but he was under obligation with Universal, and he was roped in to go and do the sequel, and he absolutely hated his time on the sequel. There's a good book, the sort of behind the scenes of Jaws 2. This chap's collected all the interviews and that. And Jaws 2 was such a rubbish experience for Roy Scheider that he made sure that he was busy for this. He was working on Blue Thunder, I think, at the time when this was filmed, but he'd also signed a multi-contract deal, a multi-movie contract with Columbia Pictures, just so that he would never be available for Jaws 3. Oh, the gate is jammed. I wonder what that's all about. So there's Dennis Quaid. He's openly admitted that this is one of his most embarrassing movie roles, and he was high on cocaine for the entire duration of filming. But I used to love all the jet skis in this film, and I would have loved to have ridden a jet ski back then, you know. I remember there was this and Police Academy 3, a lot of jet ski work in Police Academy 3 as well, and I was always keen to have a go on a jet ski. I still am. I'd love to do it. So I don't know. A lot of these staff are actual SeaWorld staff. So you see here the fish. It's a mammal, actually. It's a dolphin trying to get out through the gate. Something spooked it. I wonder what this is all about. Is it trying to get out or trying to get in? I can never quite understand. Oh, almost lets his jet ski carry on. So he's going to see Bess Armstrong as Kay, his love interest. That's Kay's assistant, and she is actually one of the SeaWorld workers who actually trained Bess Armstrong. Bess Armstrong does all her own stunts in this movie, apparently. And like this bit here where you see her introduction, she's riding on the back of Shamu. So this is like a big advert for SeaWorld, you know. Look at this. Beautiful fish. Mammal. It's another mammal. But doesn't look very healthy. Look at the fin collapsing over. So, you know, it's a bit of a controversial theme park these days, isn't it? I don't know. Is it still open? I'm not entirely sure if it is, but never seen Bess Armstrong in anything else again. Obviously, the only two that I know that I've seen in other things since. Well, Lewis Gossett Jr. Wasn't him and Dennis Quaid, they're both in Enemy Mine, aren't they? Isn't it Lewis Gossett Jr. plays the alien in that? Where they both, two pilots from different sides of this space war, get stranded on a planet together. But yeah, I've never seen Bess Armstrong in anything. The chap who plays Sean in a minute, I don't think he carried on an acting career, but I think he does have a career as a TV director. So Bess Armstrong's character here is, she's like the lead biologist in this water world, and Mike Brody is like an engineer. He's like the lead engineer, which, you know, when you watch Jaws the Revenge, which me and Nathan have discussed on this podcast, you should go back and have a listen to that. He's actually a biologist himself, so it completely disregards this movie, Jaws the Revenge. So here now is, what's his name? Fitzroy. They used to call him One Size at school. They didn't really. It's just a poor joke of mine. This actor here as well, I've not seen him in anything else. other than we used to have a board game of Cluedo with a DVD board game of Cluedo, and he turned up as like the gardener of this estate or something in the little intros in between the games, like the little cut scenes in between the game or something like that. Simon McCorkindale. I think he was like gone on to do a lot of TV acting. Actually, his mate, P.H. Moriarty, as Jack Tate, the mustachioed man there. I've seen him in more things than I have him, the main guy. And he's actually in one of the Lockstock films, I think. Is it Lockstock or Snatch? He turns up in one of those. But here's Sean Brody now, dressed like a cowboy. And I think the plot line of this, they say that he goes to Colorado to college because he wanted to be landlocked after the events of Jaws 2, which saw him absolutely terrified of the water and of sharks. So he's got this fear of the ocean, which you would have, I think, if you'd been through what he went through in Jaws 2. This is actually one of the nicest shots in the film, silhouetted against the lovely sky. And this is Oberman now going down to repair the gate, or to lock it shut, as we see here. But he hears something around. We know what it is, but does he? Oh, it's just a little fish. So far, none of the 3D shots have actually sprung out at me. It's, I know there's a lot of 3D gimmicky shots coming. Nothing yet. I will talk you through them. I do love the echoey soundscape in this bit. But not the fact that the shark roars like a man screaming. Or was that Oberman's scream? I don't know. He didn't look like he screamed. Here's a 3D shot now. The arm sticking out, the bone sticking out at me. That doesn't look too bad. But like I say, there's a lot of ghosting on this film. The 3D conversion, I don't think it was conversion. It filmed with 3D cameras. But yeah, just not as good as sort of more modern 3D movies that I've watched. Oh, that slid towards me. The bottle. Sliding the bottle in the bar. So this is the bar. There's Oberman's girlfriend. She's delivering the drinks. Has Oberman been up to his old mischief again? So he's a bit of a womanizer by all accounts. A bit work shy. Often skiving. So when he goes missing, everyone just suspects the worst. So here we are. Lots of drinks going backwards and forwards. The Brody brothers and Kay getting to know each other, getting acquainted. So yeah, this woman, she's a bit cross with Oberman not turning up again. If he's messing with that bitch in the souvenir stand. This game, Standoff now. You see Leah Thompson playing Standoff and Sean. They're playing Standoff. I always thought this looked like the shittest game ever. I don't get the rules. And if she's so good at it, he could trick her just in an instant. Oh, the big man's fell over. She's brilliant. Sean's like, no, I've got this. It's a game of balance, she says. So Leah Thompson, they obviously said this is her debut role. She'll go on to be Marty McFly's mum in Back to the Future. Howard the Duck's love interest in Howard the Duck. She's gorgeous. She's 21 years old here. Oh. So far, they're having a fairly balanced game. But no, he tricks her. Oh, my fly's open. As soon as she looks down, he just throws her over. So she's, oh, God, he's so witty and clever and absolutely amazing there. So he buys her a drink. The other guy she beat didn't buy him a drink. And even though he's won, he's going to buy her a drink. Because he's a gentleman. And, yeah, he's a Brody. And they're the good guys. So now she's there at the table as well. They all get to know each other. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Shall I look up some other interest while we're in this boring pub scene? So, did you know that Jaws 3 was originally going to be a parody film? The producers, Zanuck Brown, who produced the first one and the second one, they also done like great films, like The Sting was one of their good films. Big producers. After like the success of Animal House and the parodies such as like airplane movies was like really big at this time, the Zanucks thought, let's basically take Jaws and make a parody movie of it. And it was going to be called Jaws 3 People Nothing. They'd commissioned Matty Simmons, the National Lampoon's editor. I've talked about all these people in previous episodes. But they approached him to get his people to write the script. The first outline was written by John Hughes from, films such as Trading Places. No, not Trading Places. The one film we didn't do. Trains, Planes and Automobiles, Home Alone, the Lampoon vacation films. And, it's going to be just this ridiculous sort of Jaws parody, which the Zanucks are sort of adamant would have been more successful than this movie and probably better than this movie. And maybe it would have been, especially with like the Lampoon guys on board. Oh, another bit of 3D shot here. A little bit of grass sticking out at us. Amazing. So these are the guys with the raft. They're going out into the lagoon to steal some coral. So in their yellow raft. So we know what's going to happen here. Yellow in the Jaws films always signifies danger. And, you got the yellow raft of Alex Kittner, the yellow barrels, something that Spielberg started, and they carry on in this. Later on, you go down in the yellow subs as well. And the same carries over in Jaws of Revenge if you watch that as well. But yeah, Spielberg always uses yellow to signify danger coming up. So yeah, Sean's just telling everyone here about his fear of the ocean, which we know is understandable. But, Kelly here, Leah Thompson's character, she's gonna talk him round, get him in the ocean. She loves the ocean. She does say in the making of Jaws 3, actually, that she comes from Minnesota, so she hadn't really had a lot of time in the water. And then she had to go through really extensive sort of jet skiing training for this film. So all of a sudden she's like in the deep ocean from having only been in like swimming pools up to her waist and what have you. So the music here, as Mike is telling the story of his brother's fear of water, elaborating on it. It sounds very much, the music in this movie sounds very sort of soap opera, TV, and it has a TV feel to it. And it's probably because the producer, Lansborough, has brought his TV people with him. I've always got that sort of impression. So, the Brodies here, Bess Armstrong and Dennis Quaid here, discussing their relationship. They've both been offered jobs in different parts of the world or something, or he has been, and she doesn't want to leave SeaWorld, and both got careers that they're pursuing in different directions. So that's their storyline between them. But to be honest, it's not an interesting storyline. Slows down the film a bit. They're trying to give a little bit of a backstory to them. And to be honest, Dennis Quaid's character, Mike, in this, he's pretty basic character. There's nothing really going on. I think her character seems more interesting than his. But here we go. is Kelly hiding from Sean in amongst all the tents. This is quite an interesting shot in 3D. You see the depth as it's, shooting off in the background with all they're not tents, are they? They're windbreaks, parasails going off in the distance. She's undressing down to her bikini, trying to toy with him, trying to get him in the water. And I think it's going to work. I think anyone would follow her in the water if you were that keen. So, yeah, he dresses like a cowboy because he's been in Colorado all these times. He's got his cowboy hat. She's going to lure him in with that. So, going more on about his fear of the water. I mean, we've just trodden this theme about 3 times over. That's what this film, there's no sort of real, there's something dull about this film, but at the same time, out of this one and Jaws of Revenge, I always prefer this one. Actually, I find Jaws 3 easier to watch than Jaws 2 as well, which Jaws 2, you got Roy Scheider in it and Murray Hamilton reprising their roles, and they're, good actors. But it seems quite long-winded to me in many places, whereas this is just oddly a bit of fun that I always quite enjoy watching. So here they go, the 2 criminals now in their boat going to steal the water. Not just the water, they're going to steal water. They're going to steal the coral. And a bit of smoke on the water here. Joe Alves saying, "Oh, Spielberg likes smoke at night, so let's get the smoke machine out." And I like the way that they're out there, and you can hear in the background Kelly and Sean having their fun. But Joe Alves, yeah, he's the director of this film. He was actually he's worked with Spielberg in the past. I think his first film was Sugarland Express. He's a production designer usually. And he was the production designer on Jaws and Jaws 2. And he was also the second unit director of Jaws 2. Also does a lot of work with John Carpenter. I think Escape from New York he worked on, Starman. And the production designer as well for Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And he built that massive sound, that massive set of Devil's Tower. And thought that when Francis Truffaut would see that, he'd be really impressed, but he wasn't. But he was impressed with the little set he made of like a little hotel room. And Joe Alves was like, furious. Because Francis Truffaut worked on these more personal films, and Joe Alves was working on these big Hollywood productions for Spielberg, and this set was absolutely colossal. Here we go. They're canoodling in the water, and Mike pretends that he's some authority figure. "What are you doing? You're trespassing." Have you actually seen this? I can't remember what it's called now. It's another Jaws rip-off. It's sort of like it's American actors, but I think it's like produced in Italy and it just completely rips off all the Jaws films all in one. I did start doing a podcast episode about it once before, never finished it. That's the sort of thing I do. But they completely steal this scene in that, I seem to remember. Down to the same as people snogging in the sea, and then they pretend to. It just is exactly the same. So a lot of tomfoolery between the brothers, but out on the ocean here, like the chap here now. Where's his mate gone? And he's pulled under. His mate on the end of the string. The light goes out. Something's got him. Trying to steal the coral and ends up getting eaten by the shark. So I suppose that scene is almost the same scene, isn't it, in Jaws, where the 2 guys are going out trying to catch the shark and late at night. And come on, swim, Larry, swim. That old thing, you know. Remember that scene? The two guys on the dock. I hope we catch something. This is my wife's holiday roast. So the morning scene here. Mike Brodie feeding his dog on the counter, lifting up his ears so he doesn't get it in his food. Kay doesn't like that. Don't feed the dog on the counter. You can't blame her. Puts it down. This bit always used to annoy me when I was younger. I used to think she goes over and just eats his bacon off of his plate, eats Sean's bacon. He doesn't look that hungry, to be honest, but I was a big fan of bacon, and I was always used to think, don't eat my bacon. I'll have my beeper, beep your beeper. I'll have my beeper, beep your beeper. The relationship between Kay and Mike, they seem to be comfortable in each other's company. They're not bad performances in this film. It's just a bad film. The characters aren't all that great, you know. So Universal Studios is behind Jaws, as I was saying earlier, but it's actually not a Universal production. It's more of the TV producer guy, who I forgot his name, Lansborough. But Universal, you know, I always consider Universal the home of the monster movie. And even if they haven't produced it, they usually distribute them. Films, you know, back in the old days, it was all the classics, your Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, things like that, you know. But now you look at the DVDs of American Werewolf in London is Universal and Jaws is Universal. So I always consider them the home of the monster movie. It's quite a good shot. The dolphin there sticking his head out in 3D. That looked quite nice. And here again is Philip Fitzroyce. Now, he's supposed to be like a British hunter stroke sort of marine or wildlife photographer, and he's coming here to make a film of the opening of the underwater lagoon and film a promotional video, basically an advertisement for the SeaWorld. So he's he's no Hooper, is he, basically? And there's a scene later on, and it's a bit ridiculous, where they find the little shark, and she wants to capture the little shark, and he wants to kill it on camera for their promotional video. Well, I thought SeaWorld should be promoting these animals, not destroying them. It's almost like Steve Zissou, isn't it, going out to kill the jaguar shark. What would be the scientific purpose in killing that jaguar shark? Revenge. It just puts me in mind of that. But, I mean, that was the mentality after the release of Jaws. I listened to a good documentary on the BBC Sounds, all about the Jaws effect and the negative impact that it had on the great white shark, and people's perception of sharks. And after Jaws came out, people were hunting sharks just so they could put their their jaws up on their mantelpieces as such. And it became, a lot of sort of conservationists, I think that's the word. Shark experts was sort of sickened by the Jaws effect, which you can understand. But I've also listened to a podcast episode where one of the world's leading shark experts these days got interested in sharks because of Jaws. So it's had the opposite effect, made more people aware, but it's created this fear that is just sort of unfounded. Sharks are not the type of thing that would just turn up and repeatedly kill humans. We don't taste that nice. We haven't got a lot of sustenance. But so here we go. The yellow submersible, again, the colour yellow, signifying danger. Or are these submersibles just always yellow? You decide. Sorry, I'm slurping away at a drink here. So, you see Mission Control can look out. There's some awful sort of overlay shots in this. You can see that when they're looking at the screen, they're probably looking at a blue screen with just an image projected there somehow or composited on. So is it Cindy and Sandy, the two dolphins? But yeah, see their fins over? Does that mean they're unhealthy? I always get the idea that's unhealthy. These rocks here are supposed to be in the foreground. And it's all layered composite shots. And there's the sub going past. And just look how awful it looks. You can see it's composited. Half of the sub sort of disappears. I think this is the shot as it turns around and you just see the front of the sub just disappearing. Yeah, there, look, you can start to see through it. And there it goes. It's such awful effects. It's unbelievable. So now they're assuming at this point that, maybe Oberman hasn't run away. Maybe something has happened. So that's why they're coming down to have a check. See if they can find him. And they're going to find something else. This is where they're going to be aware of what's really going on. So they're going over to the pilot galley. And yeah, the 3D here, you'd think that shark would look like that submersible would look like it's floating, but it's not. The hand here sticking out towards you, you knew that was going to be a 3D shot. The hand of the skeleton, not Oberman. And when I was younger, I used to think, oh, is that the robber? He's wearing the same black beanie hat as the coral robbers a minute ago. But of course, it's not. That was just my young mind, not really listening to what's going on in the conversation. It's just a dummy, just there for the viewers. So the dolphins, actually good actors. Probably the best actors in the movie. There's an awful shot later on, isn't there, where they use a composite of the dolphins jumping out of the water at the end shot, and it all freeze frames. And oh my God, it's absolutely horrendous. If you're watching with me along, you can look forward to watching that bit with me later. It'd be good fun. Sorry, just done another burp again. I don't know what's wrong with me. So, a lot of this movie is filmed underwater. A lot more than Jaws 2 and Jaws 1. There are underwater scenes in both of those films, but not as much. Yeah, the eel shot, not as good in 3D. There's not a lot of depth. There's a lot... I don't know, there's something weird about this 3D. It's hard to focus on. When I put most 3D movies in to my 3D Blu-ray player and the TV, and it says like side by side or up and down, this one here didn't. It just goes automatic. So I think it's a different format than I'm used to. And there we go. The rubber shark bursting in to the shot. And it does look very static. And you see this shark throughout. Obviously, that was a real shark cut with probably Ron and Valerie Taylor, the filmographers, oceanographers, collecting that footage. Beautiful fish. I am obsessed with the great white shark. It's my favourite creature. But here's some stunt work now. The escaping the great white shark on the dolphins. But yeah, there's a lot of the use of this rubber shark throughout this movie where it's just static. Not that rubber shark, that's a real shark, but the fin. Just that iconic fin, isn't it? You know. Oh my God, Bess has fallen off. Is she going to get it? The shark's opened its mouth, but no, the dolphin just about saves her. Just about saves her there. The music, not a patch on John Williams, is it? A bit more dramatic now, doesn't sound so soap opera. But there's something about this song, the music for Jaws 3, that just I still like, I still enjoy. There's that rubber shark again, bursting into the gate as they shut it. So here they go. Bouchard, he absolutely is in love with Fitzroyce. Philip One Size Fitzroyce. Just as Jack Tate is as well, you know, later on. There's we'll talk about it later when we get there. But this is where they explain that there's a shark in the lagoon. And Fitzroyce, this is his plan now, to kill the shark on camera. He's an overactor, that bloke, I don't know. Seems like a TV actor. Picked up another film with Lewis Gossett Jr. in the other day on DVD, Iron Eagle, which I suppose came out on the back of like the success of like films like Top Gun, another pilot film. But I remember I used to enjoy that when I was younger, and I can't really remember anything about it, but I remember that was one we'd hire from a video shop. So I've got that to watch. I might do a comparison between that and Top Gun, see which one I prefer these days. I never used to like Top Gun as a youngster. This is a nuts idea, Kay. You can't tame sharks. They're murderers. Mike knows. He's been through all this. So this is the debate. Are we going to capture it or kill it? It's all a bit crazy, isn't it? A bit far-fetched. So, yeah, Richard Matheson's version of the film, although it wasn't SeaWorld and just trapped in a lake, it might have been an interesting version. He also introduced the two sharks that we have in here, the baby and the mother. We're not aware of the mother yet, obviously. And it takes a little while before we find out about that, just before the final act, really. But, yeah, it would have been quite interesting to see Richard Matheson's version. He claims it was a lot better than this. And, you know, he is a good writer. This was always a shot I knew would be a 3D shot. So how is it holding up? They're holding the syringe. They're filling up the syringe with the poison, and then they point it at us. Oh, squirting water over. Oh, it made me duck. It didn't really. But, yeah, that's the thing. There's all these gimmicky shots throughout this where they're pointing things directly at the cameras. That's one of them. You could always tell watching it, like, oh, God, I bet that looks good in 3D. I wish I could go back in time and tell young me, don't worry about it, you'll get to see it one day, and it's not that impressive. So, he's in a red wetsuit now. They're going down to capture the shark. Kay is in, like, a chainmail suit, which makes sense. He's in this red wetsuit, and she reckons that red is going to be like ringing the dinner bell for the sharks. Is that true? Do sharks see red, or is that bull? Just bulls. I'm going to Google it. Do sharks see red? Let's have a look here. Sharks are believed to have monochromatic vision, meaning they see in shades of grey. Studies suggest that they lack cone cells for detecting red. So red may appear dark or invisible to them. It makes you wonder if they knew these things back then, or if we've only just learnt these things, because that was a thing in that podcast I listened to about the Jaws effect on sharks and that. And they were saying, the two experts saying that when they went to watch Jaws at the beginning of their careers, and Jaws had just come out, and they went to the cinema and was just laughing at all the inaccuracies throughout the movie. But I will hear nothing said against Jaws. Thank you very much. Jaws 3, fair enough. Have a dig. Not Jaws. I won't have it. No, we do know it's a ridiculous premise, really, and the ending of the film is just ridiculous. The shark keep coming back and smashing the boat up and eating the can and all we have, you know. But it's just a great film, isn't it? It's just one of those amazing movies. 50 years old. Unbelievable. So they're going out now to go and get the shark. Let's do this thing. Bouchard is going to be watching from his little observatory. We'll see him in a minute, I think. I think we do. Anyway. Yep, there he is, look. Yep. Here they go, setting the lights out in the water. I don't know what else to say about this bit. There's the harpoon that they're going to use to shoot the shark. She's got her spear. She's doing a hooper. She's going down with the poison on the end of the dart, on the end of the spear, like Hooper did in the original movie. Mike's got the harpoon, and I remember there's a shot with a harpoon that might or might not look good in 3D. I'm pretty sure he shoots the harpoon directly at the camera. Watching Avatar 2 recently, Way of Water, in 3D, and it's absolutely incredible. It looks like these solid little figures swimming around underwater. This one not so good. You can't really get the depth. It is 3D, but it's not as impressive. Saying that doesn't look too... There is layers to this movie. Not to the movie. Just to the 3D. There's no layers to Jaws 3. So they're all tense here, you know. So this is what his plan is, to shoot a buoy into the side of the shark to slow him down and weigh him down, tire him out. Similar to what they've done in Jaws. Can't go down with 3 barrels on him. Not with 3 barrels, he can't. Actually, the other night, I went and watched... Oh, here we go. There's that rubber shark again, look. They haven't even bothered building an animatronics one this time. You know, it's almost like a massive hand puppet. And then Fitzroy comes over and he's stabbing it. Look at him go here. You know, so it's eating her tank. It's lucky it didn't bite her and just got her tank. damn it, Martin, this is compressed air. You screw around with this, it's going to blow up. That's a Jaws quote. So here it goes. This is the shot. Oh, no, not quite the shot. He's trying to get the harpoon. Is he lining up? Oh, damn it, it's not working. Look at the overacting. So Mike Brodie here. Come on, Mike. Come on. Here we are. Oh, it did make me want to duck. I'd imagine in a cinema it might have been more impressive, but back then you didn't have the like the passive and active glasses. It was the red and the blue. I've watched red and blue 3D films. I used to have Polar Express red and blue, and it's just awful. You can't really concentrate. It ruins all the colours. So yeah, I'd like to watch this. And I know as well they've actually done a version of Jaws in 3D, the 1975 version. But can I find it on Blu-ray? Did they release it over here in 3D at the cinemas? No. I'd love to have gone and watched that in 3D. But yeah, that's what I was just saying. The other night I went to the theatre and watched The Shark is Broken, which is all about the making of Jaws. It's basically 3 men on a boat, Quint, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss and Roy Scheider. And it's written and starring Robert Shaw's son plays Robert Shaw. And that was just really impressive little play. It brings a whole new depth to the whole story because it's Jaws, the making of Jaws, obviously, and it's like a time capsule. They're looking at sort of movie making and how Spielberg, this is going to be the summer blockbuster, and they don't know it at the time, but they're sort of like, it's insightful looking back, not just at the production, but how films have advanced. And they're both they all look at it from different point of views. You've got Richard Dreyfuss playing the young upstart. He's the young upstart who wants to become famous, and he's like, no, films are going to be this. And Quint, as Robert Shaw, is like looking back at, no, films used to be art, and it's all going to be to Hollywood and what have you, So it's quite interesting looking at that. But it's really interesting looking at how Robert Shaw, his son is playing his dad, knowing that his dad is going to, passes away. And there's a lot of reflection where Robert Shaw is looking at his own life and his own parents and his own dad's behaviour and discussing that. And it's all taken from Robert Shaw's diaries, as well as other sources. But yeah, his son took it from his father's own diaries. But it's really, it gives so many more dimensions to it. It's really interesting, and just you forgot you were watching these actors. It just looked like the 3 real actors, from Jaws. It was absolutely incredible. But here now they got the shark in captivity, the rubber shark again. They're pumping water into its hose, but you can see it's completely rubber. It's not rubber. It's just comatose. It's in shock. So they're pumping water through its gills. So, it's wiggling a bit. It's wiggling a bit. Get out of the water. It's wiggling a bit. So now it's come to life. And here we go. Do they cut to a real shark swimming around? Didn't it? No, they don't. It's just a appalling shot of a rubber shark floating through the water. I love her line. Didn't it give you any warning? No. 1 minute it was still, the next minute it was awake. Just no good dialogue in here. So here's more of the water world, the sea world shows, the jet skiers. Real SeaWorld audience here. And this is the opening of the Undersea Kingdom. So this is like your Jurassic World now. Everyone's moving in. All the crowds are coming in. Don't do it! You don't know what you're letting yourself in for. That's quite a nice shot. The dolphin, the killer whale jumping up at the camera. Obviously not filmed by Fitzroy, like they tried to let us know there. I tried to make out. I mean, it is funny in how rubbish films can mean a lot to you, because when you watch them when you was kids, and yeah, if I was to watch any Jaws films, it would be Jaws first and this one. And Jaws 2 always, like I say, it seemed a little bit boring in places to me. It seems a very long film, Jaws 2. Whereas this is just a sort of short, punchy, rubbish film. But so Bouchard now, he still thinks Oberman's done a runner and he's holding Brody responsible. So Bouchard and his little man here, his man on the side with the bow tie. So, oh look, Bouchard's deciding we can make more money if we get that fish, the great white shark, put into a tank on display. Obviously they shouldn't. So more jet skiers here. This is only going to end in tears. This is all actually part of the shows that we've been watching, you know, that take place. They just pop Leah Thompson in there. She's been training with the actual people. So these are all part of the actual shows. The flag's there blowing in the wind towards the camera. Another shot that you knew was designed for the 3D. There's some impressive stunt work going on here. Just not filmed very well. Poor old Joe Alves. His debut was a complete flop. So Sean, you know, him and Kelly are getting it on quite well here. You know, she's finished work for the time being. Come over on the bumper boats with me. So we know now we're getting into the scary area, the middle act where everything goes wrong. Here's another 3D shot. How does it hold up? The 3D tongue of the snake. No, it all goes out of focus before it sticks out of the screen. Doesn't look very impressive. So the underwater tunnels here again. Looks like just it's filmed in a studio and it's just composite water in the background. I don't know if that is the case or not. But it all looks very corny. Another 3D shot, 3D snake. Better than the other bit. Better than the tongue coming out of that other snake a minute ago. A 3D tentacle. Yeah, it's all right, I suppose. The dolphins look good, though, when they pop out here with the fish. They do end up looking quite interesting. A good use of the 3D. It does look like a solid creature coming out. So here we go, back with their storyline. Bess, Armstrong, Kay and Mike. You know, they've got to get this sorted out. This, is she going to move? Is he going to move? I can't remember which way around it is. But they've got to sort something out, you know. Is work going to get in the way of love? Has one of them got to give in to their own dreams for the other ones, you know? You've got to make compromises in relationships. So now she's heard, what's this? A great white in captivity? No, 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 no. She's chasing. Here it is. They've put the great white in the water. Oh no. What have they done? So here comes the shark and all. No, it's just floating there. It's that same rubber shark. Lifeless rubber shark. But so she jumps in the water to try and save it. But this bit here in a minute, you watch, it looks like it's up the right way. And I always remember this. It looks like it doesn't go over on its back on its own. She has to tip it over. And you think, look, she's rubbing it, trying to get it up and running. You couldn't rub a real shark like that. It'd be quite coarse when you run against the grain. But here she is. She turns it over. Oh, no. No, it's gone now. It's on its back, so it's dead. You just see all the water, the air pumping out of it where she turned it over and all the air chugging out of its mouth. It's a very sad scene, though. Very sad for the shark. Very sad for Kay, because she's concerned for these creatures' welfare. And even Fitzroy here looks concerned for her, even though he wanted to kill it on camera. Go on, photograph it, she says. So Mike now, he's not going to go on the bumper boats, is he? He's scared of the water. But she's forcing him on. I used to love bumper boats. We used to have bumper boats at a little theme park around the corner from us. It's called Pixieland, it was called. But there was literally in like a tiny little tank, sort of oh, here we go, shark's POV. Is this the shark coming out to play? There's no music accompanying it, so maybe not. But the underwater world, again, you'd think there'd be layers. You see the stones here in front and then the lagoon in the background and the tunnel. But it doesn't actually. It's all composite shots again, but it all looks the same level. The fish look quite good here, look good bit in 3D. We follow these young girls looking through the windows. What's going to pop up here? Oh my God! It's a rubber Oberman. Sorry, there's that shot where like they see the body turns up at the window, and then a girl like forced up against the window just looked ridiculous. I don't know why she was squashed up right next to this decomposing corpse. That did make me laugh. So this is some great acting here by Dennis Quaid as he identifies the body. Ew, insects, creepy crawlies. He's retching and collapsing. But Beth, Kay, she's got to have a look because she needs to identify the cause of this. But he's protected. He don't want her to see Oberman in this state, but she's seen shark attacks before. It's part of her education. It's part of her profession. So just leave her be, Mike. Let her have a look. She's going to have a look now. Just making sure I'm still recording. Oh my God. Her hands are that wide apart. This is mental. That's a mental sized fish. So, something else going on here. There's an obstruction within the, you see the workings here, the guys in the control room. There's something else going wrong. And now we're in this restaurant where they're Fitzroy and Bouchard again. You know, he's always showing off his wealth to them and his park. They're sort of romancing each other, aren't they? There's a good arrogance to Bouchard's character in this movie, I think. He is a great actor. Great movie villain in this, you know. He is like the mayor in the first one, isn't he? But he's... We can't close the park. This is our park. So here we see a big tail smashing into something. It's a bit hard for me to hear this because I've got the headphones on, because my microphone's part of the headphones. Because I thought if I had my open mic, you'd hear all the audio. Classic line coming up here as Mike and Kay are here now to tell the story. The new developments. A bite radius about a yard across. Rightly, you know, that's absurd. That would be a shark in the size of 35 feet in length. That's like a megalodon, isn't it? But that's the evidence on Oberman. The shark's mother done this. Do sharks and mothers just hang around with their together? I don't know. This Overman was killed inside the park. The baby was killed inside the park. Its mother is inside the park. And almost on cue, we're going to see it. It's been hiding all this time, and then it's just as she's explaining the ins and outs of the developments. No, it is. There it is. It's right there, look. Told you. So how it's hid in that part for all that time, and now all of a sudden it's free and right where they are at the same time. And it looks awful. Panic ensues, and now he needs to release the people. Release the people from the lagoon, get them all out, get everyone out of the water. So this is the scenes of chaos now, as Mike Brodie and the others try to rescue everyone from this ginormous shark that is on the rampage now. So Sean and Kelly, they're not even having fun on the bumper boats here. You know, they're just sat stationary as everyone else is going around. And he's like, yeah, let's go in now. It does look pretty boring, Kelly. All right, she's making it a bit interesting. You know, it's a bit of a smooch. But what, are they just gone on the bumper boats because they're great just to go and sit stationary in the water? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So now they're going mad, trying to get everyone out of the water. This is the 4th of July scene, you know. The panic. Look at Fitzroy's mate punching a member of the public because he wouldn't get out of the water. The overacting. Dennis Quaid is good at overacting here as he rolls into all those penguin rides or whatever it is. Bouchard now, he means business now. He's loosening his tie. He's in the control room. Jacket's off. Tie's gone loose. Dennis Quaid now disrupting the shows. We know something's going to happen, but when? It's can't even hear what he's saying. He's just here we go. The jet skiers, the water skiers there. They've seen the shark. It's right behind them. This is it. This is where something's going to happen. But what? So he crashes in. They're all right. The first jet skiers are all right, but everyone's seen the sharks now. The audience have seen the shark. There's panic. They've got a panic on their hands on the opening day of the underwater lagoon. Now that shark is right on top of them. I mean, the fin, if it's meant to be 35 feet long, the fin is like a metre away from them, so its head is under them. It's only got to lift its head and they'd be in the water. But they're all in the water anyway. They panic, they fall. But where's the shark? It's gone past them. It wasn't interested in them because even at this point, the shark is after the Brodies and only the Brodies. And we know where the shark's going. Oh no, it's coming back for her, but it's fine. But that shark, you know, a little jet boat like that, if that wanted to, that shark could just eat that in its whole mouth. That's how big the shark's supposed to be. But now all of a sudden it's here. Oh, they're in the water. Sean and Kelly, they couldn't start their motorboat. It had to be their motorboat that was having trouble starting. And now here comes the shark. I always used to think this looked quite an impressive shot where the shark takes her out of the water. And it's because it's a minimalistic shot, you know, it's what you don't see is when the shark is effective. When you've got a rubber shark, it's best to just show it in sort of minimal shots, isn't it? That looks quite good, the water, as everyone falls in the water, that looks quite good in 3D, and the planks floating up. But people are injured now. This is going wrong. Fitzroy in the right place at the right time. They're getting him out of the water. Dennis Quaid on his little boat is going around trying to get everyone out. I think everyone's safe now. It's just the people in the lagoon. Oh, nice wet t-shirt shot of Leah Thompson there. You wasn't going to watch the film, and now you're going, well, I'm going to go and find the Blu-ray now. I'm going to find this on a streaming service. You probably pay over the odds for it on a streaming service. But I can't say anything. I've just paid over the odds for it on a 3D Blu-ray. But there she is, lacerated leg. That's probably her water skiing career over. So the dolphins still out there, stuck. But they're going to have to get shut out there. They're going to have to take care of themselves. So Sean, yeah, if he was getting over his fear of the ocean and the water, back to square one now. What's Bouchard going to say? That's right, this is where they... trying to get everyone out of the underwater lagoon, because there's this massive shark down there that could cause a lot of damage. And it probably will. He gets good and angry. He plays a good angry man, does Lewis Gossett Jr. He actually, for the film he got the award for, oh, is this the shark? Can't see it in that shot, but they can see something. And look at it, it just looks this flat composite shark. There's some really shit awful effects come up. But panic ensues here as the people are running through the lagoon. And then, oh, uh-oh. It's bursting. Yeah, this is Jurassic Park. See all the lights flashing on the map? It's exactly the same as Jurassic Park. They just copied Jaws 3. But yeah, they've got... the shark is just now going on a rampage, smashing the lagoon up, the underwater tunnels. I don't know why all the lights are flashing all over the tunnels when it's only like one area he's hitting. But on the display you can see like, oh, we got trouble here, 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 here. Yeah, these people, this must be frightening, getting locked into an underwater lagoon with a massive shark attacking you and the water's rising inside. I don't know why, but I remember when I watched this after I'd watched Ed TV, and that was the first film I'd seen Matthew McConaughey in. And this guy here in the middle here, like you can see him with the blonde hair and the tash, always reminded me of Matthew McConaughey. Don't know why. But she's, the guide's doing a job calming everyone down. And Bouchard, a teary moment here. This is a man who can act. He can do tears as well. His world is falling apart, but he is concerned for people's safety. He's not like the mayor. He is, his reputation's on the line, but safety comes first. Yeah, as I was saying, in the Officer and a Gentleman he won the award for, he plays the drill sergeant, and the drill sergeant lines was all done by Lee Ermey, who plays the drill sergeant famously in Full Metal Jacket, and they're almost the same role when you watch the two. It's all the same lines, and it's because he was hired as the expert on set of An Officer and a Gentleman. He was hired for the same job on the set of Full Metal Jacket, but then given the role in the end. And then became an actor from there. You know, you've seen him in many films now since that. So there they are. Mike and Kate have resolved their differences. She's going to go and follow his career now for the next year. So the press conference here. See, they're quite open with the people. They're not doing a Mayor Vaughan in this movie where, you know, Larry Vaughan in the first one was like, yeah, we have caught a fish that supposedly injured some bathers after like 3 people had been killed. But, you know, they're being quite open with them here. Telling people that there are people trapped. They are working to get them out, and they are. They're working their hardest. Mike Brody's on it. He's fine. He's going to engineer the shit out of it. So we're moving into the final act now. And some of the worst special effects in any Jaws film coming up. So Fitzroy here now establishing the new plan. Try and find the shark and get it out of its hiding place. Mother's gone back into hiding now. She's shown her face, caused havoc. Now she's gone back to her hiding place. They can guarantee this plan is going to work. Nature's not predictable at all. So it's probably all, it's all bullshit, isn't it? But he's going to use himself as bait. Is this how I'm picking up? Then that gives, if they can lure the shark one way, Mike can get on with his welding, weld the tunnels back up. They can release the people, get them out. They've got to move quick, though. These people are cold, they're wet, they're scared. And with every minute that this goes on, the park's reputation is at fault, failing. So all in the I'm rubbish at this. Sorry, running out of things to talk about. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea. I don't know. So yeah, they got to take 2 cameras down. They're not just doing a job; they're making a film as well. So, but Jack would feel better if Fitzroy had his hands free, wasn't filming. But they're like a team made in heaven, them two, aren't they? So here we go. Mike's in position to do the welding. Fitzroy and Jack going down to get the shark, to lure him out. More underwater filming. Yeah, they built a tank specifically for this movie. And for a long time, it was like the biggest tank of its kind in the US. I think it was topped by the Abyss. We've discussed the tank used in the Abyss, which was it like an old... Oh, it was like a radioactive sensor, a nuclear power plant or something, wasn't it, that they used? Not an old one, but one that wasn't... I can't remember what it was. Listen to our Abyss episode. It's amazing what you forget. You think you know these things. So here they are now. They're squirting blood in the water to try and lure the shark. Bouchard watching with bated breath. Both cameras ready. Is the shark going to turn up? Making noise, tapping on the thing. Here it comes now. This big rubber fish. Okay, so it's not as bad as Jaws of Revenge. You can't see the hydraulics coming out the bottom of it, but they show too much of the shark. It's not effective. It's ineffective, So Calvin's off. He's not Calvin. Jack's off. Following his rope back. Oh, no, that's... I lost who was who there. That's it. Fitzroy is leading him in. They're going to shut the shark behind the gate. Fitzroy goes in. The shark's in and trapped. So Mike can do his work. So Mike can do his work now. But what's going to happen to Fitzroy? Is he still in the tank with the shark? Yes. The shark's gaining on him. Good job it's a shark that swims in slow motion and not like a real shark that swims at a normal rate. Else he would have been eaten a lot sooner. But, oh no, he's pulling himself along the rope, but his rope is untied. He obviously wasn't a very good sea scout. You'd think he could tie better ropes than that. This is his job, for God's sake. Oh, sticking a pencil up his nose. That's what it looks like. In 3D. Here we go. He's fighting the shark. He's hitting it. I think with a shark, you've only got to put your hand over their nose. And that's like, almost makes them blind. Look at that. Within an instant, he's inside the mouth. You can't... That's how big this shark is. It's crushing him in its throat. It's deep throating him. So here we go. He's getting attacked here now. Getting squished. What a giant fish. So is Mike doing his job? Is he going to have time to do it before the fish escapes? So, yeah, the other guy there is Bouchard's nephew, helping Kay on with her suit. She's going back out. She's suiting up. She's got her tank on. And she's going to go and be a pair of eyes for Mike while he's doing his job. She should have probably gone out with him at the start, rather than like 2 minutes away from his end, the end of his job. It would be a cool place to work, something like this, wouldn't it? I do love the ocean. That's why I said if you listen to my top 50 movies back along, you know, 2 of the films in my top 3 were ocean movies. Jaws. Oh, he's welding right at us in 3D. Looks. The shots where they point things out at us like that, it seems to go out of focus before, so it doesn't really work. It's not really that effective. I'm not one for like jumping out 3D. I like the depth. This is the scene where Jack realises something's wrong with Fitzroyce. And he's... Governor! 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 Crying like a baby. Could be crying like a baby in a minute. So he realises something's wrong. Some more overreacting. So yeah, that's the options. We shut the pumps down to drown the fish, rather than blow it up and blow up the lagoon, which, you know, is an option. But I don't quite understand what happens in this bit. So they stop the pumps. Jack's crying his eyes out here. He's lost his best friend. But now they've stopped the pumps. It makes the shark waft its tail at the gate. Is that a result of the pump having stopped? So that's the impression we're supposed to be given. That because the pump stopped, it gives the shark an opportunity to escape. I don't quite understand it. But you see its tail there wagging about, causing pressure on the gate. That's a big tail as well if it's a big fish. So the welding looks like it's success. Almost there. Mike's almost there. But the shark's kicking off. Look at it bending that metal. The latch. It's like all the security cameras are basically, they're looking at the same shots that Joe Alves is setting up. And I hate it when they do this in films. So it's like you're watching the shots of the film, and then the security cameras are those same shots. And you think, why would they have a security camera of that bolt? You know, it just doesn't make sense. But now the shark's reversing out of the pipe again, or whatever they trapped it in. Mike's finishing his job. It's getting tense. They're trying to pull him up. The fish is breaking free. But they can't communicate. Why can't they communicate with him? They can communicate all the rest of the film. But at this point, the only way they're trying to get him up is by wiggling the line a bit. It doesn't make much sense. You'd think Kay and Mike would both be rigged up to mission control, you know. But no, they don't appear to be. They're deaf down there. And here comes the shark. Kay's seen it. But the people are still in the lagoon. So yeah, the most slow motion shark that you'll ever see. Just sort of glides slowly. It's like stationary there. It's mostly stationary. Growling. Not quite as a roar like in Jaws the Revenge. But the shark certainly does growl. And these dolphins here, Cindy and Sandy, they're giving it... Oh no! Has it got one of the dolphins? Looks like it's got one of the dolphins there. Mike and Kay making it back as the shark. I suppose we're supposed to think that the shark's been put off its pursuit because of the dolphins, even though it wasn't moving at all. It was just sitting there, still in the ocean. Now it's moving. They're going into the tank. Look at the size of that tooth around the door. Can they get the door shut before the shark wrecks the door? They're in. Thank God for that. That was a heart-rendering moment, wasn't it? That looked quite good. The water coming down across the lens there in 3D. I remember watching one of the Harry Potter films in 3D, and one of the best scenes in that was the water after the dragon scene, and they steal the dragon from Gringotts. It's in the last movie, isn't it? And then it drops them in the water, and I remember that just looking good. There's something about water in 3D that just works. So here come Mike and Kay now back into mission control. And the water's going down, the people, and Matthew McConaughey at the front. I think this woman is a great actress. One of the extras there. She looks grateful. She looks panicked and emotional. Just really, yeah, she looks good. Collapsing on her legs. Matthew McConaughey, first one out. Here they go. They're being ushered out of the lagoon. Alan Parker's music. Uplifting. But this is the shot now. The flat shark. Designed for 3D. Does it look any good in 3D as it comes towards them? They're in slow motion. The realisation that this shark wants Brody blood. Not only is it like a photo of a shark, and it just comes to a freeze frame as it hits the glass, and then the glass breaks. It just looks awful. But as it's moving in, you can even see like the lines where it's cut out around, like on a square piece of paper. So she died instantly. She's drowned, or as Bouchard saved her. Bouchard's nephew gets it. Bouchard saves the woman. So he's all right. But there they go, the nephew getting dragged away. In a shot similar. And as it's eating obviously a dummy there. But yeah, it's a similar shot with Bouchard's nephew getting eaten by the shark as it is with the end of Jaws of Revenge with Mario Van Peebles. And there's a plasticine shark. That's like Steve Zissou, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, which was my number 2. You know, my other aquatic film in my top 3 films. But they're not panicked. They're just sort of staying there next to the shark, looking into its mouth. And there's Fitzroy in there. You can see his hand still holding the grenade. So this is the plan. Let's get that pin out of that grenade. The music's exciting. More exciting than the footage. As the strings up the ante. So she's going one side of the shark to distract it. Whilst Brody comes in with a piece of rod, which is going to unhook the pin. And there is the plasticine shark again. It's amazing, isn't it? The effects are amazing. No, he's missed it. Watch out, you could have Fitzroy's eye out with that. Here he goes. He's got the pin. They've got to get away now because that could be quite the explosion there. And there it is. A big bloody explosion. Shrapnel coming towards us, and there's the Jaws floating in 3D. Yeah, again, you could just see the black line of where it's superimposed. It doesn't look very effective at all. So, here we go now. They've done it. They've killed the shark. Panic over. Let's go up to the top. Let's get to the ocean, top of the ocean. Calvin made it with Lisa. Mike's just confirmed that. So, how does he know that? He saw Calvin swim off. He doesn't know that they survived. They could have drowned. There's one of the dolphins. Ah, one made it. But we saw one get attacked. I've got a bad feeling about this. As they're trying to call the dolphins back. Oh, no. But the music's telling us differently. Yes, there's the other dolphin. It's made it. It's a fanfare of joyous music for this joyous occasion. And yeah, in a minute, you just watch this final shot. It is absolutely shocking. Here we go. Superimposed dolphins. And woohoo! Jaws 3 is over. So, there you go. That's it. The titles are up. That was the very first, maybe my very last. I'll see how effective this is or whether you listen to it at all. If you have listened to this and you've watched it alongside the film, I'd love to hear that you've done that. I'd love to know if it worked or not as an episode, if you've enjoyed it. So you can either comment on the video on Facebook, the podcast up on Facebook where I always share it. Email me, wnmovietalk@gmail.com, or yeah, comment over on Facebook, WN Movie Talk Podcast over there. Or on YouTube, I'll probably upload the audio commentary on YouTube as well. Just comment below if you have watched this alongside Jaws 3 and if you have enjoyed this. And just let me know of your thoughts. And if there's other films you'd think would be good fun to watch as an audio commentary. But here we go, the music as we fade out. Going through sort of a montage, not a montage, just a medley of the music from the film by Alan Parker. And yeah, that's about it. I've not got much more to say. Hopefully the credits won't go on much longer. But yeah, thank you ever so much for everyone, for if you have joined me. And yeah, I'll see you all again shortly for more episodes of WN Movie Talk Podcast. You can find us on most good podcast platforms. Don't forget to go over there and rate us and subscribe and follow us if you are new to us here. And check out the previous episodes. We've done plenty of different episodes now, so plenty to comment on, to listen to. And yeah, we don't need to watch the end of the credits. Let's just call it a day there. So thanks everyone. I will see you all again soon. All the best, TTFN, and cheese!